Hi, good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to let some people join. Welcome. Welcome to Tune In Thursday. Oh, gosh, what a week. How have you guys been doing? I forgive any scratchiness or maybe a little bit of coughing. I'm getting over a cold. Our temperature super dropped this week, and hi Anoop. And it wreaked havoc on my system at least. So I'm been nursing myself back to health. So I'm really glad that I'm here today because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this little video today. So let's give it another minute or so, let a few people join, and we will get started. Today I'm going to be talking about love, and love is our greatest challenge. Okay. I was really wanting to do this outside today, but it's far too cold, and I wanted to do like a little dance, but I'm just not feeling that energy right now. Maybe tomorrow or maybe next week. Next week will be good. All right. So let's just go ahead and take a deep breath. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you. Take a deep breath. It's Thursday, so we're not anticipating Friday. We've already had nearly a full week. So just take a deep breath to come into your presence. Good. Always take deep breaths. Deep breaths are really important. I talk about it. I've been talking about it every week. Let that life into your body. All right, so the reason why I wanted to talk about love being our greatest challenge is, well, with the series of events that's been going on in the last week or so, a lot of debates and a lot of what I'm seeing as, are we choosing to be part of the solution or part of the problem? And I'm talking about in our society, and I'm not going to go into the debate about what happened in Florida. We all know how extremely disturbing and horrifying that is already, and that we're tired of having to deal with these challenges, these instances that keep coming up. But what it brought to me was a moment to reflect on what's really happening here. And I'm speaking on the side of someone who dealt with mental illness a majority of my life with mental illness. And I did harm people. Physically, no, but emotionally I was abusive to people, and I was abusive to myself. And the reason why I ended up getting help was because I knew that there had to be another way of life. I was ready to die. So what it came down to, in all honesty, was when I would have episodes or crises, that was me reaching out for help because I didn't know how to feel love. And I'm not saying that what this person did was right or wrong or this or that, and I'm not gonna blame certain things. I think really what it comes down to, honestly, is where are we not showing up in love? And I know it's kind of a slippery slope because we hear the word love and we automatically think of love as in loving someone else. But we don't realize is that love is coming back to ourselves. We will never truly know love for others if we do not know love for ourselves. And we as a society, yes, we don't know how to love ourselves. Therefore, we don't know how to love each other. And a lot of the time, people end up feeling invalidated and acting out in certain ways, and it brings up emotions, and it can cause us to react. And I'm not saying that one way is right or one way is wrong, but I think what we do need to understand is that how can we come into a greater part of love for ourselves unconditionally? How can we start to see that this world really does need massive healing? And, we can point the finger all we want and blame our government and blame our society, blame this, blame that. But if we're not turning the tables around to ourselves and saying, you know what, I can do better in this way. Look at how you spend your day. Look at how you have interactions with people. And I'm talking about anybody. It doesn't matter if it's the homeless person on the street or the millionaire, sitting across from you. It doesn't matter who it is. We are, as a race, human. And we are all here on earth striving to feel love. To me, that is the only real thing. And I've had to, deal with this over and over and over again. How do I keep coming back to love? How can I keep coming back into compassion? How can I keep coming back into kindness? And these are the barriers that need to get broken. Because we put our, whenever we have an experience that maybe taints us a little bit, we'll call them circumstances, sometimes we put our guard up. And then that happens enough times. How many guards do you have up around yourself and your heart? So then, at a certain point, you're not even able to feel love anymore. When we come into this world, this is what we're striving for as human beings, right? When we're born from our mothers, every single one of us was brought through the portal, through a woman. We strived to feel that love, that nurturing. And what happens when we're not getting that? Okay? It starts to create issues inside of our bodies. Our issues live in our tissues. And so we start to hold all of that into us, and then it starts to create this whirlwind of emotion and desire, addiction. It starts to create, issues in the brain. And it's not, and I don't want to say that it's anybody's fault per se, but we have to look at our history. We have to look at our lineage and the suffering that our ancestors have had to endure. And it wasn't necessarily their fault either. They had to survive. Our history needed to survive and needed to just figure out how to continue existing. I feel like now we are at a point in this year of 2018, in this generation, where we're really starting to figure out and take responsibility for ourselves in being coming back into love. And the only way for us to do this is if we start looking at ourselves in the mirror and we start really truly not dissecting and seeing all the things that are wrong with us. I look this way. I'm not doing this. I'm not at my goal weight. I'm this and I'm that. Complete self-criticism. And we turn that around. And we start looking at ourselves and we start experiencing ourselves for who we are, unconditionally, no matter what. being in full acceptance with where we are, being in full forgiveness. And for, maybe we didn't do something that we wanted to do, and, we made a different choice. Okay, so you made that choice. There are consequences, and dealing with those consequences instead of self-loathing, learning how to say, okay, I did something, and now I'm going to change direction, and I'm going to go this way now. Now, the hardest part of it all is going to be, how do you stay in that? Right? Because it's really easy for us to keep, hi Maxine, it's really easy for us to keep slipping back into our old habits and patterns and thoughts. So the next step is, well, how do I stay on course? Well, for me, there's a number of ways. Hi James, good to see you. There's a number of ways, and part of that is journaling for me, writing things down, having a vision, creating a vision of the person that I want to be. And I am going to say, if you look at me, if you knew me, I'm going to say 10 years ago, I'm 38 now, but if you look at me 10 years ago when I was first starting treatment, and I was still having psychotic episodes, and, people are like, God, I can't even imagine that you were like that you even had a mental illness, and, that you would be screaming and crying and trying to break your head open on the floor and the walls, and, and like talk about self-destruction. I was having these out-of-body experiences, like I was watching myself having these episodes, and you can't imagine me like that now. But the way for me to start building a new person was by holding a vision of the person that I actually wanted to become. And even if I didn't believe that I could be that person, I had to almost force myself to believe that I could be kind and compassionate, and that I could be loving. And it all started with learning how to love myself. And this is why self-love is such an integral part, and it's the only way that we're ever going to know love, is if we can learn to love ourselves. So today I invite you to create a vision for yourself, and maybe this can be something that you work with over the next week. I would love it if hi J Brave, I would love it if you took a vision of what you would like to be for yourself. What kind of man would you like to be? What kind of woman would you like to be? And write it down. It can't hurt to write down. Writing down is actually really good because it triggers a part of your brain. You can actually start that visualization, and then it gives you something, honestly, to look at every day. Make sure you keep this piece of paper. You can write it on a Post-it, whatever, whether it's a journal. And you look at this thing every single day, and you keep it in your periphery, and you practice being that person. So for me, it was learning how to be kind and compassionate. So I was like, well, if I want to be a kind and compassionate person, I better practice being a kind and compassionate person. So I started practicing with everybody around me, whether it be, like I said, the homeless person on the street, the cashier clerk, whether it be my friend or my yoga teacher. Practice kindness and compassion, and then turn it around. I started looking at myself in the mirror. It's a little bit weird when you start to do mirror work, but you start to look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, you know what? I've been really hard on you. Where have I not been kind to you? Where am I holding on? Where am I holding on to these negative or these false belief systems that I'm not worthy enough, that I'm not good enough? And you turn it around and you start looking at yourself and start to see this human across from you in the mirror. Look into his or her eyes. Look at at your face. Touch your face, touch your heart. Talk to yourself with kindness and with compassion. And you're going to start to see a shift. And try this for 1 week. James, good. He does mirror work 4 to 8 times each day, and it's powerful. Yes, you know. It is. It's really powerful because we cannot truly, like I said, we cannot know love until we learn love for ourselves. So that's really what today is about. Is I really just invite you to take it a little bit of a step deeper, because honestly, we are not going to solve the world's problems until we start to learn how to solve the problems within ourselves. We start to gain our power, and then we start to empower each other. So this is us. First we come in, we go in, we start doing our own work. Reach out to people who need help. This is why I am so grateful for this path, and I'm so grateful to be on this path for the last 15 years, because now I feel like I'm at a place where I'm strong enough, and I still do my inner work constantly, but I see somebody ready to come through the portal, and I'm able to help them in now. I'm able to help pull them up into their next phase. And this is what we should all be, this is what I feel we all need to be doing to help our world. The world, to me, is going to have a collapse before we can have the rebuild. So the chaos ensuing right now, it's going to continue happening, because what it's doing is it's waking people up. So are we choosing to stay awake? Or are we continuing to go back into our old thoughts, old patterns, old behavior, old cycles that aren't getting us anywhere? So it takes a lot of courage. So yes, today, this week, start that process on learning, practicing loving kindness and compassion, and see what happens. Can't hurt, right? All right, until next week, you guys. I'll be feeling a little bit better next week, and we'll have more content, and I'm really excited for these Tune-In Thursdays, and have a really beautiful weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.